Hello and welcome to week 9 of the college football season. How y'all feeling?
Feeling great. Iowa State's back this week. Who
Yes,
knows?
sir.
Maybe I'll actually sit down and watch a game. We'll find out.
Will you? Are you sure you're not on call?
Not on call. I will be in Gowrie. So
Okay, all right.
yeah.
Well, we have a little bit of a chance here then. I would say, I think not only the team needed that bye week, Trent, I need it. I'm fully back on Iowa State now. I'm not down into the dumps. I'm done being a realist with this team. I'm back to being Homer Bryant. I'm ready to fucking go. What are we, 3-4? We're going 8-4 for the rest of the year.
Hey, I say let's just get bowl eligible. Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's start with that, and then we'll get to 8-4. Joey, how you feeling? You're muted, bud.
It's probably a good thing talking about the Hawkeyes. Kirk probably should have been muted in that press conference the other day.
Yeah, well, that is for sure. I don't know if you want to reset or what's going on, Joey, but we'll kind of keep going here. But no, we do appreciate you all. There we go. Now I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. For some reason, I switched headphones, so my microphone switched. But whatever. Yeah. So I'm ready for the Hawkeye game, I guess. Playing Northwestern this week. They got stomped by Ohio State, like I said they would. So yeah, we'll see what happens this week.
So like the Joker, no one panics when it's a plan, right? We plan to get destroyed by Ohio State, right?
I mean, if plan is throw your second string quarterback under the bus and then the rest of your team, sure. But we'll
get to that when we get to the actual game, because I'll tell you, man, this is the most emotionally invested I've been in Iowa this year, and I'm not even a fan. If anything, I kind of enjoy when bad things happen, but it's like it's to the point of it being like, okay, there's comically bad, and then there's like, oh, I just feel bad, you know?
See, this is my entire plan, to just come on here and bitch and then have you guys slowly but surely come to the dark side.
Yes. All right. Well, we do appreciate you guys that have been joining us in the last few streams. It's been making a lot of fun when we get to like our pick'ems and honestly just complaining about our teams here, but we'll kind of roll into it here so we can get into the therapy session that was the Ohio State game here. Trent, I hope you didn't cheat this week, looking at the bottom of the sheet here, but
I didn't actually.
Okay, good. I put in big bold, do not look at the bottom. The answer is there. So, I would say, well, I'll give you the first crack at it since she was having connection issues. The trivia question for tonight is going to be, who has the most vacated wins all time in college football?
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know what inspired me to come up with that one. It's not even like anyone that's been in trouble lately. I just thought it was a very interesting one.
SMU.
So they're in top 10. That's why I wanted to put in there, because I think everyone will think of the normal ones, but I don't think anyone will get the number one. So SMU.
Oh, so it's not Penn State. I was going to say Penn State.
Nope. Guys, just don't look
USC,
at the bottom so I can unhighlight it here. But
yeah, we're not.
Let me see here. SMU is 9.
USC, it's got to be on there.
USC is 5th right now. Who was the other one you said?
Penn State,
USC.
USC.
Still Penn State isn't. Remember, those aren't vacated anymore.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
Remember, all their crimes went away because they paid a $60 million fine, and they were still on TV every week.
Okay.
It was a real big punishment, if you remember. But,
all right.
So Penn State, actually, it's technically not on there, but you got two of them: USC, SMU.
You want us to keep guessing?
Yeah, just keep rolling down the list. Anyone you think?
Baylor.
Nope.
Yeah, Baylor. No.
They're not.
Wow.
There's also like a discrepancy. Like Texas Tech is supposed to vacate wins, but they haven't agreed to it or something. So like,
I was gonna say Texas Tech because of the Mike Leach thing.
Yeah, but there's like they have in the comments of the games that are supposed to be vacated go, this win is supposed to be vacated, but Texas Tech hasn't, which I don't think sounds like that's supposed to be how it works. You're supposed to just vacate them and it's done. But
right.
But no, Baylor's not one of them. I'll give you two more misses and I'll just go down the list here.
Oh man.
So somebody we would not think of. Harvard.
No. I like it. I like everything in the old school.
Yeah.
Start thinking where college football's at, the southeast.
Bama.
They're
Miami.
number 2.
They're number 2.
Bama is number 2 at 21 vacated wins. Just so we can keep it going, Ole Miss is number 1. I need to look into what they did, but they have 33 vacated wins. Bama 21. Tied with them is Notre Dame at 21. North Carolina with 16. USC at 14, we mentioned. Florida State has 12. The one I thought you guys would get is Ohio State with 12. Syracuse with 11. Yikes. SMU at 10, and then California at 4. Yeah, a lot of teams you wouldn't expect, and I'm sure it's a lot of incidents that we probably haven't even heard about. But I thought it was really interesting, Ole Miss being at the top at 33.
Right. That's crazy.
So, and shit, actually taking that drink, I forgot to mention it before we get in. Anyone drinking anything interesting? Joey, you had Kraken the other day.
Oh, yeah. I have another Kraken right now. I'll be right back.
Trent, what do you got? A little Busch Light?
No, well, you see here. I just texted upstairs to my wife, hey, I need a beer.
Hey, babe, give me a brew.
Should be on its way. It's Michelob Cold and Light.
You know, when people are looking like Andrew Tate and they're looking for all the alpha men, I mean, they just need to look at Postal Heartland. Look at us. We're just the alphas here, right?
That's right.
I just chowing down.
I just got a text that says I'm coming with her beers. I wonder if she's watching.
Hi, Katrina.
So Joey, what were you chowing on now? We're talking about being alpha males, and you're talking about chowing.
Well, I was chowing down my 4 enchilada and Mexican food that I got from DoorDash, and Trent's like, well, I just got DoorDash too. Mine was Hawkeyes.
You should probably
or hot dogs.
Could you hear that?
Shit, I didn't. What'd you say?
She just handed me my beer and goes, your wife's actually listening, so you should just calm down.
Thanks, Katrina. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So my new one tonight is called Cryo Stash. I told you last night that this Hop Valley has like this cryo hops or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna try this one. Decent opening.
Sounds crispy.
It is good. It is also 8.4%.
Ooh.
Was it IPA?
8.7%. It's an IPA, and it does not taste like it. So,
Joe, we know the urges are going to come later. We know the urges are going to come later after a couple beers. Keep your shirt on, please. All right. That's for the VIP stream after that people have to pay for. Yeah.
Go.
A little taste there.
So speaking of Joey's and his love of IPAs and my hatred of IPAs, went and played golf at Prairie Green in Sioux Falls. And there's a place just right next to the golf course. It's called Looks. And it's like a big grocery store, like a restaurant. And now they have like a brewery and stuff in there. And they had one of their beers on tap at the golf course. And I was like, I just found out about the brewery yesterday. I want to try their beer. And the only thing they had on tap was an IPA. So I got it. And their IPA was pretty good.
Keep exploring new things, Trent. All IPAs are pretty delicious.
Trent, my favorite beer in the world is O'Fallon.
This was a
5-day
unicorn.
IPA.
What is it?
Well, O'Fallon 5-day IPA. It is the least hoppy IPA I've ever had. It is super fucking smooth. Brian's had it because I forced them to go to the brewery with us, and it is delicious. I gave it a 5-star on Untapped. Next time we have a Pulse of the Heartland group meeting and live that we've never had before, I will bring a whole case of that, and we can all enjoy the best beer in the world. And you will love that IPA. Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah! Well, make sure you bring those when we have our first huddle up. So, but all right. Well, we'll get to what the people are looking for here. Week 8 recap. Looks like Trent's going a little behind, but I'm sure he'll have some stuff to say about Iowa. Ohio State 54, Iowa 10. Joey, why don't you just hop into it? What are you? How you feeling on that one?
I mean, it was what I said it was going to be. First half, they kept it close. If it wasn't for that pick six at the end of the half, it would have been in 20 to 10. And who knows at that point? I mean, obviously I knew. And then Ohio State went on a rampage because the defense got tired and the offense can't get off the field. Or can't stay on the field. It's just disappointing every week to watch this offense struggle. I don't like watching it anymore. I'm going to keep watching it because I'm a Hawkeye fan and I love the defense, but we'll see what happens with Northwestern. The over-under on that's 37.5. I would never, ever touch that over. Both teams really stink. So we'll see. Yeah, Northwestern may not win a game on U.S. soil this year.
That would actually be pretty funny. One win, but it's in fucking Ireland. So,
right.
But, I mean, like you said, I don't think the momentum changed too much when we had with the pick six at the end there. I think Ohio State was going to do what they wanted. It was very encouraging early on, the 7-3 interception. You're like 2 minutes in, you're like, oh, now of course, we're going to have an offensive bonanza, but shocker, it was a defensive touchdown. That what happened, and I don't know. I don't think, like you said, we all expected, but I mean, Ohio State, the one big strength that Iowa has always had is tight ends and line. And my goodness, that Ohio State line is scary, dude. It would be like, I don't even think Padilla, Peyton Manning, doesn't matter who you'd have back there. They were getting through within about half a second through that offensive line like Swiss cheese, and they were just doing what they wanted last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy how good they can be and how they just reload every year. But I still think their lines aren't as good as Michigan. So I'm now that both teams have played Iowa, I'm really looking forward to that game. If Michigan can control the ball, I think they're going to upset Ohio State. But I mean, both teams look great right now.
I don't know. You look at the lines a lot more, and I think you're probably closer to right on that. I just can't jump on. Ohio State had number 5 Notre Dame. They've played some good teams, and I don't know. They did have the better score versus Iowa. The thing that's holding me back on Michigan is just that cupcake out of conference when you're going, oh yeah, they're undefeated. They haven't even they're averaging 50 points a game. It's like, well, you're putting up 69 points against Colorado State and Hawaii and, all these, no offense, nobodies, when you're Michigan. And they got the same thing next year. So I don't know. I'm still not 100% sold on Michigan, but I guess I haven't been tuning in all the big noon games like you have. I think the running joke was like they followed Michigan for a month straight. It just crazy.
Yep. And I mean, and I agree with you. I see exactly what you're saying, but the like opponents, the Iowa, I guess is the only like opponent probably, but then the way they annihilated Penn State in the second half and just showed that, once that they could assert their dominance, they did. That's a whole nother level of greatness that I think that they have themselves. So I don't know. I'm really looking forward to that game. We'll see if they're both undefeated at that time, and I'll make my pick then. But yeah, right now I would lean towards Michigan with the points because they'll be the underdog because it's at Ohio State. So, but yeah, Michigan on that.
I know it's a bit early, and everyone doesn't really want to be talking about playoffs scenarios just yet until it maybe gets a little clearer. A one-loss Michigan or Ohio State doesn't go to the Big Ten championship, but it's a close game. Do both of them make the playoffs?
I mean, it's the same type of thing that you have with Tennessee, Georgia in the SEC East. If one of them, well, yeah, but I mean, if Bama's probably going to win that West. I mean, it's going to take a lot for them not to go to the SEC championship game. Like if the loser of the Georgia-Tennessee game doesn't go to the SEC championship game, if the winner destroys Bama in that championship game, did both of those make it? I mean, do we get 2 SEC, 2 Big Ten teams? I mean, I don't know. That'd be super shitty. I don't want to see that because, God, I would never hear the fucking end of it from you two. But yeah, it would just be would not be a good thing. Right, exactly.
But no, just imagine the loser of the Georgia Tennessee game, if it's a close one, gets to say, well, it's because we lost one of the top teams in the country. Bama goes undefeated. They beat whoever in the NCAA or the SEC championship game. We have the same scenario with Michigan, Ohio State. Now we got 5 teams. They're 5 powerhouses. The NCAA might make the exception and just put a 5th team just so all the brands can get in. I mean,
maybe
wouldn't be the first time they've changed rules to benefit Ohio State. I don't know, man.
No, I understand what you're saying. It happens.
You picking up what I'm
so I do
down?
want to. I am somehow, some way, but I have to bring this up because I brought it up last night on the NFL pod when I called the Denver Broncos the Iowa Hawkeyes of the NFL. I'm going to read off the offensive stats for both teams here real quick. Points per game.
Northwestern and Iowa. What 2 teams? I'm sorry.
No, Iowa and the Denver Broncos. Because last night on the NFL pod, I said that they were, 2 peas of a pod, and one was the NFL equivalent of the Iowa Hawkeyes. So, points per game for Iowa, you've got 14.0. Denver is scoring 14.3. Total points, 98 for Iowa, 100 for Denver. Total touchdowns for Iowa, 10. Total touchdowns for Denver, 8. Man, it's super fucking ironic and super fucking uncanny. Like passing. Denver is 140 completions for 244 attempts. Iowa has 98 completions on 186 attempts. I mean, it's just so 5.5 yards per pass for Iowa, 6.8 for Denver. Like, these offenses are terrible. And if anyone tells you that one of these... Go ahead.
They also both have teams with quarterbacks that everyone knows their name because they're so bad too, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. And one is overpaying a quarterback like crazy, and the other one is overpaying a coach and an offensive coordinator. So, yeah, 2 peas of a pod.
As much as I don't want to, which defense has more points, Iowa or Denver? That's got to be Iowa. I mean, they've got 3 touchdowns. Right now. Yeah. I was gonna say, I you know what the sad thing is, and just to this is where I talk about how we could always joke about how bad Iowa is, haha, and we've even joked about this stat. Did you see Bill Connelly did the homework and put the advanced analytics in there and said if Iowa would have punted on first down every down last week, they would have actually won by they would have actually been a closer game.
I specifically remember someone in our text group, I don't know, 4 weeks ago saying Iowa should just punt on first down, get field control, punt on first down, get field control, punt on till they get into field goal range and then kick a goddamn field goal. Like, how hard would that be? If your defense is going to be out there anyway after 3 and out, just make all your tight ends and offensive linemen defensive linemen so they can rotate, and then don't even have an offense. Just fucking have punts and special teams. And, yeah, that's all you need.
There you go. It's as simple as that. You just don't play one side of the ball, and you just play one at NFL caliber level at NCAA. It's super easy.
Well, I mean, they're barely playing that side of the ball anyway, so why even worry about it? So,
go ahead. I was just going to say they need to, first off, like we've all said, they need to get rid of Brian Ferentz after the season. They just need to get. First off, this isn't the offensive coordinator's fault. This is where we need to just step back, and Kirk needs to step back and allow whoever he hires as offensive coordinator just do his thing. Because you see teams that are like, I was looking at UCF stats, they're putting up over 500 yards a game. They're doing more with less talent. Iowa has the talent. Look at Charlie Jones that went to Purdue. He's competing with one Charlie Rose. Fuck. But we have Charlie Jones that's going to be competing as one of the top wide receivers this year. You have the talent there. Why? Like, I just don't get how he can't step back. And again, it's got 25 years at the helm, a quarter of a century. It's going to be tough to let go of some control. But I mean, like, offense is where it is right now in college. In defense, if you just let whoever on offense do whatever, he knows he's got Phil Parker, and he knows he's got people that are going to take care of the other side of the ball. So just let back, get some of these preferably like a MAC or a smaller school that has to do more with the athletes because they're going to be competing in these bowls with all these other larger programs. Just let them loose, man. Break into the 21st century. We do have a thing called forward passing. Just it's just frustrating to watch a game. They're not even fun games to watch because, like, half the time you're watching this defense force Ohio State in a 3-and-out, and you're like, all right, C.J. Stroud, he can't do nothing. I mean, you held Ohio State to 200 less yards than their average, and it was
they had a forced fumble and they had a forced fumble and a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Iowa had a lead in that game, which is the crazy, shitty, weird thing. So, yeah. So I know we wrestled for the same coach in high school. I'm not going to name names or anything, but I know that he kind of just ignored anyone that was above a certain weight class, and you were just kind of there to fill a spot, even if you were good. Kirk has the opposite. If you were, a small guy that runs routes for him, he just doesn't give a shit about you and only does his own thing. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't want to keep bitching about it because it just gets old. I know our viewers kind of think it's comical sometimes, but yeah, it's to the point where I don't want to dwell on it too much anymore. I'm just kind of over it. So,
2 points that I want to rush through because I think it's important. One, we said it at the very beginning. I think it's a cowardly move and a bitch move to put Padilla in the second half and basically go, well, we gave him a shot. It's like in the second half versus the number 2 team in the country. That's not a real shot. He should have the whole Northwestern game, if you want my opinion, I think they might do.
I think he should have started the Ohio State game. Just let him have that whole thing. But, yeah. Could you imagine if he would have had some kind of momentum right after that forced fumble recovery? Then they go 3-and-out with Ohio State, or Ohio State went down and got a field goal. But then they have the lead still. Fuck me, man. It was tough to watch.
And then the only last thing I wanted, and Trent, welcome back here.
Thanks. Glad to be back.
Glad to be back. The only thing I wanted to bring up was Kirk's comments in the interviews. He did come back and kind of redact them and apologize for him today, which honestly I'm over it. I don't think Iowa fans are. I think they're still stewing about that as well, about giving the kind of shitty attitude of, well, basically like our text thread. End of the day, I'm still me, and these writers are still them. That's kind of a shitty thing to say when you're making $42 million.
Yep, and it's a shitty thing to say when you're being indicted in a lawsuit because you broke up a committee to talk about how bad your system is and everything. I mean, it's just a very, very bad look for Ferentz right now. He's not going to retire because that buyout's $42 million. Why the hell would you sit down, or why the hell would you leave and just have that money not be there type of thing? So, it'll be interesting what he does in the offseason. I wouldn't be surprised, like Corey's saying, I wouldn't be surprised if he just gives the university and fans another big FU, big old middle finger, and says, fuck it, Brian's going to be my assistant coach, and he's going to coach special teams and defense now too. So, yeah.
Honestly, that would be the best thing. Get him away from the offense. You are now the assistant coach. It's like you're now vice president. There's no real job when you're being the vice president. You just have the label, That would, but honestly, if no matter what Iowa did next year, then is everyone would just go nepotism. That's becoming a national story. Is everyone looking like, how did the son get hired with nepotism laws and just insane, man.
Yep. Yeah, so I listened to the Dan Le Batard show, which is a mostly Miami podcast, which, yes, is part of the reason that I said Miami was going to be back this year. But, they're like, man, this whole drama going on with Iowa, their offense is so bad, and their coaches just, are defiant in saying how it's not really their fault and blah, 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 and it's everyone else, and they'll get it straightened out. And it's like, well, no, you won't. We're the worst fucking offense in the nation. I mean, again, the only offense that's as bad as ours is the Denver Broncos. So, and they play against professional defenses.
Yeah. So, Trent, you got any other feelings about Iowa there?
Yeah. So you said Kirk Ferentz's buyouts, was it $42 million?
He gets fully guaranteed whatever his salary is, right?
Yeah, it's $42 million. He signed till 2029. So every year it goes down.
$42 million. I mean, if I were him, for $42 million, I'd just be trying to get fired. I think he's smart.
He's smart.
I mean,
for $42 million, I would do whatever it took to get fired.
The thing that makes me most sad is like I see every year they do the big recruiting like splashes on Twitter and stuff, and people have committed and blah blah blah. I haven't seen a single fucking thing on Twitter for commitments or people wanting to come in, and it's like we can't even get defensive players to come in, and our defense is fucking stellar, and we can't get commits right now. It's crazy. It's insane. I just think there's a lot of national distaste for the Ferences at the moment.
I think, the defense, I think you've still had your recruits up to this year, and we've mentioned it before. I think it's just right now, offensive players are seeing these stats. They've seen the offense you run. They're seeing the stats are run. You know, they see the Western Kentucky's. If you're a mid-tier recruit, why not go to Western Kentucky and either be a quarterback to pass for 5,000 yards or a receiver to catch for 1,100 rather than go to Iowa? I looked at your stats and just, again, kind of funny. Tight end was the leading receiver at 600 yards. Number 2 was a wide receiver at 400. I mean, these recruits look at these numbers and go, I want to be the next blank. Do you not think there's anyone that is potentially, in Ankeny or in Iowa going, I want to be the next Xavier Hutchinson? They're saying that. They're saying on the difference, I want to be the next Jack Campbell. No one's saying I want to be the next wide receiver at Iowa. No one's,
No.
maybe the next tight end, maybe the next lineman, but not wide receiver.
Yeah, it's crazy because a lot of those kids are putting up those stats in like 4 games in high school. They're like, if I'm not even going to be able to do that in college for a whole season, fuck that. So crazy times we live in.
Last thing, and then we'll move on to another game. Charlie Jones, he had 21 catches last year. I'm pretty sure this year he's up to 72 already. We're barely halfway through the season. He has 3 times as many catches in a new offense. About to be best wide receiver in college football. I always get around Biliknikov.
Yep.
I think that's the receiver, yeah.
I knew it. But all right, let's move on just so we're not down to the dumps the whole time. Baylor, they outlasted Kansas. I think if it's between you and me, thankfully Clark isn't here because I don't want him to feel sad about it, but I think the fairy tale of Kansas is over. Between the injury to their quarterback and they caught all the right breaks early on. I don't know if they win another game this year.
Yeah, they're on a bye this week, so I don't know if they get healthy. What is their quarterback's injury? Is he going to be back this year? I haven't heard.
He was disputing the claims last week on Twitter. They're like, he's going to be out the rest of the year, and then he retweeted and goes, first time I heard that, So I was thinking he's going to be back next week, but then Bean was flicking it around. So I don't know.
So, I mean, this game, it was 35-23. I don't think it was that close. I mean, Baylor was up 28-3 in the first half. And, KU scored 3 straight touchdowns to come within 5, and then Baylor put it away. But I think Baylor kind of had it in cruise control there and let KU back in this game.
Baylor kind of does that. Iowa State was completely out of our game, and then they kind of let us back in, and it looked good, only 7 points, but we were out of it by the third quarter. So
yeah, for sure.
TCU, that one was a crazy game. First off, Kansas State needs to start Howard at their quarterback. Their backup. I know Adrian Martinez is a good story, and he hasn't thrown any interceptions, but they were leading 28-10, mostly because their backup quarterback Howard was making plays and able to run and threw a touchdown to Cade Warner, Kurt Warner's son. But TCU, they're a tough out. They just come back in every game. They're down 28-10 and able to come back to final 38-28. I mean,
28 straight points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of starting to believe in TCU potentially national level because I mean, you can say that they shouldn't have been down by that much, but how many teams have the wherewithal and be able to come back and from that far down and win those types of games too?
Yeah, because I think I texted you guys. I said TCU's getting exposed here, and then that's when their comeback started. It was 28-10, I think, when I texted that.
Yeah, we had a group bet going on Saturday night when we were watching that game live, and it was just we were all down and out because we had all picked TCU, and then by the third quarter, okay, we're starting to come back, and then they just had all the momentum at that point.
Yep.
Now, they've gotten lucky. Where I think it was the last 4 games they've played backup quarterbacks every time, so there is a little luck in it. But you can only play who you play. I mean, they're all playing Power 5 teams at this point. The backup at Oklahoma State should be just as good, not just as good, but they should be good enough to be able to, navigate through a game. I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
West Virginia playing
you
their backup
remember
quarterback.
You remember that. You can only play who you play when 2 Big Ten teams are in the playoffs.
Yeah, there we go. And 3 SEC teams, right? They're just going to combine the loser of the SEC championship game and the one that's sitting out. We'll have Tenabama in there. We'll just combine
Tenabama.
No, I thought you were going to say you can only play who you play when they release the schedule for next year, Joey.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's that too, but that's all right. I'll wait till next year.
And with it being 14 teams, we're about to see it in the Big 12 as well, because we like to be all high and mighty saying it's round robin. We get to play everyone, which has been nice. It literally it proves every year who is the best team because you played them every single year. But like Iowa, between not only Iowa being on the other side, but because of the protected rivalries between both Michigan and Ohio State, it is just funny seeing them in a decade. You play the top team 3 times and the second best team only half the time.
Yeah.
So you want to hear true. Iowa's
starting next year? The Big 12 has always beat their chest like the Big 12, a true champion.
Yeah.
Right.
That's going to change next year.
Do you want to hear Iowa's conference schedule next year?
Yeah, let's hear it.
At Penn State, versus Michigan State, versus Purdue, at Wisconsin, versus Minnesota, at Northwestern, versus Rutgers, versus Illinois, and versus Nebraska. I can't make that up. We don't play Michigan or Ohio State, and Penn State might be the only top 25 team that we play next year.
We still might go 4-8.
Honestly, the Illinois is the secret one. I would say not only Illinois might still be back if Brett Bielema is still there, but you also, Wisconsin, if they bring anyone competent, or if that Jim Leonard, if they bring him on, Wisconsin should be back. Nebraska won't have Scott Frost. It's not the easiest schedule that we've seen as well. So,
yeah, but not having Michigan or Ohio State. The only other team that would be great to not have on that schedule is Penn State, because we have to play the other ones. They're in the West. So,
do you think they're going to fake any injury this time, Joey? I keep hearing that from Iowa fans from last year.
No, you don't. Not this one.
Hawkeye Wilkes. We're going to ban Corey from the chat here because I've never been an Iowa fan in my life. I laugh every time they lose. It brings me joy to my heart.
This is what we're talking about here.
What a dick.
Screen sharing here. Wilkes talks a lot about Iowa. Yeah, I talk a lot of shit about Iowa. Corey, I'll talk to you on Saturday about oh my God, that is disgusting. Hawkeye Wilkes. Oh. But no, like you said though, but in years past, if you would have offered Iowa State the ability to, hey, do you want to just not play Texas and Oklahoma this year? Yes, 100%. We would have taken that every single time. So, and then we have an 8-win season. We go, well, we can only play who we play. So,
yeah, we've always, back when the Big 12 had 12 teams and you couldn't play everybody, it's nice to avoid them, but it's even better now that Iowa State is good enough to compete with them, because those games were not competitive back when we had 12 teams. And now that we're good, it's like, I want to play Oklahoma and Texas every year.
Yeah. Bring them on. Yeah.
We'll get them in the non-con now.
Yeah. Texas is going to play Iowa State in the non-conference because of all of their recruiting background in Ankeny, Iowa. They're going to come up to Ames to. That has always been the tough thing about both schools, and we've always complained about it, is our out of conference is because we have to recruit within this area. That's where we get probably some of our better recruits that are bought into both systems. But God, it just sucks when you see, remember when Texas used to play Ohio State back in the day, and Ohio State, Oklahoma back in the day, and you'd see the Oregon, Georgia earlier this year. You're seeing these BYU, Baylor. You're seeing these great out of conference games. And then it's just always the Cyhawk every year. and we don't want to schedule another good team because we gotta get a couple cupcakes in there to beat on someone too.
That's just it. We got to get our 2 wins against Northern Iowa and Toledo because we play Iowa every year, and that game's a dogfight every year, and it ain't no guaranteed win for either team.
Mm-hmm. Joey,
I got nothing. I agree with you guys. I get tired of playing cupcakes. I honestly wish there was more. I wish there was more Pac-12 involvement for the Big Ten and Big 12. I know that like Oregon, Georgia, like they usually play an SEC team. Like I would love for Iowa to go out before now. I mean, obviously UCLA and USC are coming in 2 years, but I just really wish that we would have played more out there. I mean, that's a huge recruiting stomping ground that we could have played. I mean, I hate Arizona State, and that's mostly because of wrestling. But if you get a few Hawkeye fans going out there talking to some wrestlers and shit, tell them to go to Iowa. Fuck, I love that. Bring it on.
That's what I was just going to say. Joey, you might be the only person that would love this idea. What if they had late in the year, early in the wrestling season, late in the football season, a dual weekend where on a Friday or Saturday night they had a football game, Iowa, Arizona State, and then Sunday afternoon they had the wrestling meet.
Well, yeah, so they usually do the stadium meet between Iowa and Oklahoma State, whether it's at Kinnick or at Cowboy Stadium. This year, they don't wrestle them till late in the season. But then they always have that Friday night, and then it's usually like fucking Northwestern or Rutgers on Saturday. But you can buy tickets for both. I think that's a great idea. Like, make it so that they wrestle Arizona State and then play UCLA the next day. Like, that's awesome. I love that.
Corey's chiming in. We play at ACC or SEC. He would love that. What if you could choose one? Sure, you're still going to play Iowa State. If you could have one true out of conference team that you'd love to play right now, who would it be?
Every year, like it's a rival every year.
I don't know, just one off. Sure, every year. You can make up the rules. It's our podcast.
Well, I'm going to go either Miami, West Virginia, LSU. My 5 favorite teams.
Dude,
I think that'd be fun.
I would like a 1-1 with Miami. First off, seeing all the corn-fed Iowa fans filling that stadium because Miami doesn't go to their games. Their fans are kind of crappy that way. But then I would love to see late in the year the Miami fans and the secret Miami fans up here. They're just shit tumbling up in Iowa still.
Miami comes to Ames on Black Friday. It's like 10 degrees and snowing. How awesome would that be?
Because earlier in that week it's 75, sunny, beautiful, women in bikinis on rollerblades. I don't know if that's a real life or just a movie that
it's just an 80s movie thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. And if we go off of what you guys are talking about, like pushing it to later in the season, when Alabama usually has their cupcake out of conference stuff. But yeah, if you push it to later in the season, that's basically like another bowl game for like the Midwest teams. We can all travel to Florida. But yeah, I really, now that I'm talking more, which I need to shut up a little bit, but I really like that Iowa, Hawkeye wrestling recruiting weekend where we play Oklahoma State or Arizona State, like the out of conference rivals for wrestling, and then just make it a dual meet before that, like in early November. That'd be fucking sick. Now that I talk about that, thank you, Corey, for that idea.
I bet you they could have more of those types of events. Like it would be harder to, they're not going to change the whole scheme of college football around it, but it'd be cool to have like at Oklahoma State, this is the Iowa weekend. We're playing Iowa in volleyball. We're playing Iowa in basketball. We're playing, just every sport come down. They charter down. Iowa has a huge weekend. You could sell a whole, a weekend pass to both sets of fans. I think it'd be kind of fun idea. It would never happen. So this is really fun fantasy, but.
Right. But you could do
that idea.
You could do hotel groups. You could do like a bus to and from, like say they came to Oregon State to go to Corvallis. They're another big wrestling school in the Pac-12. Like they could do a whole bus train out here and then bus train back for $500. You get a hotel room and a bus ticket for the whole weekend and tickets. Like that'd be fucking cool.
If you,
sorry, Matt.
if you
chat here, I'll explain in a little bit.
Yeah, if you did this like rivalry, I'm going back to this rivalry thing. Like say like Iowa State would play Minnesota.
Mhm.
Like like you could do football, you could do volleyball, you could do wrestling. If you did it late enough the season, you could do men's and women's basketball. Like do it all over like 1 week. Like that would be sweet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It would be difficult because obviously if you're a football team, you'd be sharing the practice field and moving around there and be a little shenanigans that way. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like the idea of just you take a week off of work that, every working man, we don't have many of those, but you can see two great teams playing in every single sport. You can go down to a different, you can go down to Stillwater and go to Oklahoma City for a day and then come back for a basketball game or whatever. It would just,
so
just something different.
If this ever happens, we talked about it here first, okay?
That's right.
Money want credit for this.
Trademark set on October 27th, 2022. Pulse of Heartland changed the world.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now that we're talking about this, why do Iowa and Iowa State not do that? Like, they could push our rivalry till November-ish. They could do it Black Friday, and everyone's out of school. Imagine the fan bases that would go there, and then you could have Black Friday be wrestling, women's basketball, and then Saturday late night could be men's basketball, and then all day Saturday tailgating and fucking around for the football game. Yeah, that'd be fun as shit.
That'd be awesome.
Right.
Get on it, universities. Come on, figure it out.
I've always wanted Iowa and Iowa State to play late in the year because I always think, first off, this is the first year that Campbell's actually early in the year been able to prove that he could get them to win early in the year. But I always think both teams are going to be better later in the season. I've always wanted that. So
yeah.
But just being able to combine to like make a sports weekend, and I'm sure they kind of do that already, like the volleyball game and football. But I'm talking like a whole week of basketball games, wrestling, everything.
Yeah, I mean, you could have what's Iowa State's basketball stadium? Hilton. Yeah, you could have Hilton or Carver full all day on Black Friday, and then all day Saturday. You could even do it because of the proximity. You could do all of the wrestling and basketball games are in one city, and then the football games over in the other one, and then vice versa the next year type thing, which would be cool. So
once we get Sci-Town in there, things will be much more possible.
Sci-Town, oh yeah.
Haven't heard any name change yet. That's the only disappointing part so far.
Yep.
So,
you don't like Sci-Town?
I don't know. It sounds fake. I know it's a fake town right now that they're talking about. I wish, I don't know, Sci Center doesn't sound any better. I don't think there's a good name for it. You can just make it Sci-Town, and everyone can rejoice in how lame it sounds, but we're together at that point.
Why couldn't they do or Cyclone Alley?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, if the university trademarks it, why don't we just, instead of it being like our merchandise and a student thing, just change the alley? It's a literal alley between Hilton and Jack Trice. Why not just change? I agree.
Right.
So I just got a text from Katrina saying she's still listening. So.
Oh no. Woman. Jesus.
Sounds empty.
Oh, that would be pretty legit. Iowa State on the field. I would say you'd fill both stadiums every time. The lower bowl where you'd be able to see anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Have wrestling in the morning so they don't have to cut weight all day. The weigh-ins could be early or the night before. Then they can feast with their families while they're watching basketball, and then all day Saturday play football or watch football. So I think it's a great idea.
I can tell you, Iowans have proved that they'll still tailgate a wrestling meet at 11 a.m. in the morning. They'll be tailgating for 6 hours before that.
Fuck yeah, man! I usually have a brisket going for most of them. So,
oh god, brisket the night before, ready for the wrestling meet. But only other one I wanted to recap from last week was Oklahoma State beat Texas 31-30 or 41-34. My Sark hate continues. He is officially. This isn't even hate. This is just a factual fact. They are Sark is 10-10 at Texas. He is 100% completely average 500.
Some schools would kill for that.
Yeah, exactly. I'd kill for 500 right now. It's impossible at 7 games, but I'd kill for 500.
I mean, couple years ago, Iowa State, a decade ago, if we won 10 out of 20 games, it'd be a big deal.
If I saw that, I think we'd be more realistic fans, Trent. Where if we were going 500, but we had however many millions more in our athletic budget, like the Longhorns do, I think we'd be equally pissed because where the fuck is this money going if we're not winning?
Yep.
So, well, I would say let's go on to the next week games. I can see that we got a Boomer Sooner and a Hawkeye getting riled up in the chat here. So we'll get to the big game.
I think you need to reply to a few things in the chat before we move on.
Oh God, which ones?
The shirt.
Oh yeah, the shirt. Yeah. So about, I think it was 6 years ago, I got made this shirt about when was the last time Iowa State had won in Norman, Oklahoma, because no one had remembered it had been so long. And then we had a middle linebacker play quarterback, and we beat Oklahoma number 3 Oklahoma in Norman. And our Boomer fan in the chat here was there in person. He said it was not a fun sight to see. He said he's been in Gaylord Stadium many times, and he's never heard it that quiet before. So
I remember that.
I was at his house on Saturday to watch the game, to watch Iowa State beat Oklahoma again. Not much of an accomplishment this year, but with our season, I'll take it.
Yeah, I remember that. I was on the golf course, just got a tee time down in Kansas at Sand Creek Station. Just wasn't even paying attention to my phone. I knew the game was going. I was like, "Word, third string quarterback, we're getting killed. Don't matter." And then I just happened to check ESPN. I'm like, "Whoa, fourth quarter." I started following it, and then we won. I could not believe it.
But that was also a lot before we actually had proved we could win some of these 500 games. That was a lot of times where it would be like, oh, it's close. Well, let's see how we can embarrassingly lose this game. Mm-hmm. And that was the one where you're like, you watch you clean your eyes because, oh my God, we actually pulled it off and won, So
yeah.
So that was it. I just want to make sure Matthew saw that I'm wearing the good luck shirt for this weekend here. But Oklahoma is coming to Ames. Both teams are coming off a bye, so both teams should be fresh here. Oklahoma is a 1.5-point favorite at Iowa State. Over under at 56. It is playing at 11 o'clock on FS1. Trent, what are your feelings on the game?
I feel good about this. Oklahoma cannot stop the run. They're giving up like 200 and something yards of rushing every week. Maybe that's what Drill Brock and I don't know. Is Cartavius Norton, is he back healthy?
I'll look into it.
That's what they need, I think. Iowa State they haven't been running the ball great. They need a bad rushing defense. And hopefully that opens up the passing game and we throw something down the field like they did last week versus Texas, because that seemed to work. So, but I would love to see Iowa State beat Oklahoma again at home. That would be great. See ya. Goodbye. Go to the SEC. Get stomped there.
So the app I use doesn't have the injury report here. Yeah. Right now, I'll be honest, I'm going to assume that it's going to be limited on both of them until I hear more. I kind of feel the same way, man. It's funny just as long as both teams have fun. But what about the fans, Nikki? Come on. Yep. But the one thing I agree, if we can get the run game going a little bit, and Oklahoma's defense hasn't proven that they can stop a running team yet, just get a little bit of pressure off of Hunter. So because again, he was improving in that Texas game, but he does not have the pocket presence, I guess, to really be. I guess I don't know if that's some they're pressuring us because there has been no run game the last couple of weeks, but his pocket presence all season hasn't been that great. I think this will be a good pick-me-up game, oddly enough, versus Oklahoma. The weird thing is, like, and Boomer can attest to this, is, I think Lincoln affected Oklahoma a lot more than people expected.
Yeah.
Not only just taking a crap ton of 5-star recruits to USC and they all transferred out. I just think it kind of, the inside Oklahoma was kind of corroded. Now, You brought in the best defensive coordinator, ex-Oklahoma player, or ex-Oklahoma coach, has won national championships in the past. You got to get over those humps. So I don't know maybe they worked on tackling this week. I don't know. But if there was one team in the Big 12, oddly enough, right now that I'd want to play off of a bye to get us back, it's going to be Oklahoma, because that's a big enough game, not only just the level of play that they're at right now, but I think it's still a brand enough win where you say we beat Oklahoma, and people are going to say, well, it's a different Oklahoma. Yeah, but it's still Oklahoma. They still have these 4- and 5-star athletes that Iowa State does not. That is still a good win in our book. And I know for Matthews here, Iowa State is not a good loss to them either. So, I mean, there's still the tiers of college sports that one has been on the hierarchy up here, one is growing, but we're still down quite a bit.
Yeah, and Iowa State needs 3 wins to get bowl eligible. If they don't win this game, I don't see where those other 3 wins come from.
I think I'm talking myself into it, but we have a chance to be bowl eligible. We have to win this game, though. So
100%. That's what I'm saying.
We are hosting Oklahoma here. We host West Virginia next week. We got to win that one.
Yep.
At Oklahoma State. Once we fucked them in 2011, that is never going to be an easy game, let alone, their weakness is their defense, but our offense is our weakness. So I don't think we're going to be able to keep up with Oklahoma State there. Texas Tech, that's going to be another revenge game. Unless they make a 63-yard field goal this time, I think we're going to do all right. And then at TCU to end the season. And that's just, honestly, we've embarrassed TCU the last few years. They're going to take it out on us this year. Matt Campbell is not gone if he's
make or break this game. I don't believe that.
He's just done. Get him out of here. We're not quite Indiana, who's the first team to ever have 700 losses in Power 5, but we're not that bad yet. We've talked about before. I think it would take 2-3 losing seasons for us to really lose our lose it on Campbell and say he needs to get out of here. We know where we've been. We see the stability of Iowa with Kirk, despite everything right now. We see where we've been 5-10 years ago. We just got to
we made it through the Gene Chizik years. We'll make it through this year.
Exactly. So I don't know why I picked Iowa State covering 1 in this game. I should have just taken the better odds at money line, but I have Iowa State covering here.
Yep. Yeah. Money line. Iowa State wins.
Joey, what are you thinking?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't watched either one of these teams since Iowa played Iowa State. So once Oklahoma started sliding and being shitty, Oklahoma's one of those teams that if they're winning, fine, I'll pay attention because I want to see the playoff implications. But if they're losing, I don't give a fuck what's going on in Norman. I actually don't give 2 shits at all about Oklahoma.
I don't blame you, man. You're Big Ten through and through. It would be like, hey, Brian, do you care what's going on at Penn State? I don't give a shit what's going on, know?
Yeah.
And it's not even so much that. It's just because I care a lot about Oklahoma State for some reason and Texas and all the Texas schools, but Oklahoma's always just been that one where I'm like, they're either really fucking good or they're terrible. There's no in between. And even when Bob Stoops was there, it just was hard for me to stay interested in them. So yeah, I'm good. I think Iowa State wins. I think Iowa State wins just because I still think Iowa State's a good fucking team. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
We really haven't had because I mean, not to it's look at our resume compare. We've been competitive in every single game. Other than the Baylor game, we weren't. I don't care. It's 7 points. We weren't competitive in that game. Oklahoma has looked lost in some games, and I think that's where we kind of have a difference. Is we're just on the verge. We have lost every 50-50 mark. If we can keep it closer or start getting the lead, it's. I don't know. I feel pretty good about our defense holding their strength, which is offense, down. Our offense has to take advantage of their weakness, which is their running defense. That's what it comes down to. So, well, let's cheer things up and let's talk about some Northwestern football. But they're playing Iowa. But I mean, you ready for some Wildcats this weekend?
Hell yes. Yeah, I think Iowa covers. I think they win 12 to.
Hold on, you think Iowa covers 11 points?
I think they have 4 field goals. That's
defensive touchdowns, man.
Yeah, they might get. I mean, they
Defensive
might get
touchdown.
13 from a defensive touchdown. Northwestern is as bad on offense as Iowa is, and I just don't think. I don't think it's going to be an entertaining game at all. Like I don't know why it's on ESPN too. Like why are the Big Ten games taking up all of these good time slots for the other good teams that are actually playing? Like I'm a Hawkeye fan through and through. I'll find an illegal stream somewhere. Like if I want to watch this fucking game, I'm going to watch it. But I don't understand why it's on ESPN too.
How confident are you in that under 37.5? I'm feeling pretty good. Like you say, Northwestern's garbage. Iowa's garbage on offense. Iowa's defense is stellar. I don't see how it hits over, to be honest.
Exactly. I have no idea. Like anytime Iowa plays one of the bottom tier Big Ten West teams, if the over under is like that makes no sense to me.
Yeah. There were rumors. I knew it. There's no way Vegas would ever allow it. Rumors of the over under being at 31 earlier in the week. That was. There's just no. Vegas would be like they wouldn't even risk it. They would rather just pay out everyone under at 37 or 35 than go 31 and everyone hits that over. You know.
So
I would still take the under at 31.
Vegas is saying this is going to be like 24-13.
Basically, yeah. Who's scoring 24 points in this fucking game?
Exactly. Who's scoring that much in this game?
Nope.
You know what? Why it might be up a little bit, honestly, is legitimately on Iowa's depth chart they have Petrus or Padilla. Maybe if it was set at Petrus, maybe that knocks it down to 30 or 31.
31.
All right. So I'm going to throw out some numbers because you're good at looking up extended odds. I'm going to let you get into your website or whatnot for right now while I keep talking so that I can throw out some numbers. Because what my real over-under, I think, would be, man, going to be somewhere around 21 to 24. Yeah, I don't see either team scoring over 14. So, yeah, what is an over-under of 24 for this game? If you have that pulled up,
what are the odds?
On Caesars. Okay, sorry, I was looking at because the first half over under. Sorry, let me pull that back up. The first half over under is 19 points. That is incredibly low. Iowa 6.5 point favorites at half. Do you think you'd take that?
I would take that. That's a touchdown.
In the first half, though?
That's one score.
I'm still thinking Iowa only scores 2 field goals in each half.
So I don't have the slider. I think is either day of, or they only have it on the NFL games. But yeah, that over under of 21, dude. That's where seeing these alternate lines has kind of changed my thinking on betting a little bit because I want to, like you said, if we would have taken the Chiefs cover 21 points in that San Fran game, you would have made a decent chunk of money because of a team because if you think about it, led by Jimmy G, lost to Denver, doesn't have any offense. They did pick up Christian McCaffrey, but when it's hindsight 2020, you're going, yeah, that we should have won by 21 points. That team is garbage.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think either one of these offenses are very good. And I think Iowa's defense is stellar. So I think 24 would be a great over-under, and I would still go under. So that's what I'm going to say.
Well, I'm gonna put a $5 down on the under in that game. I'm still a little butthurt about the Rutgers under not hitting, but I think with everything going on in Iowa, they got bigger things to focus on than hitting the over. So I think we're good there.
Right. All right.
So, let's see here, Trent. Any other thoughts that you got on this game before we hit just kind of the big games and our locks?
Yeah, this game might set college football back offensively a few years. So,
oh man,
how many times have we said that this year? I think we've said that for almost every Iowa game,
and it keeps getting set back even farther.
It's just funny. It's like I'm sorry, like as an outsider, it is kind of the gift that keeps on giving. It's just like. I'm a very analytical guy, and then just seeing the Bill Conley, they're better punting on first down stats, just chef's kiss. It just not only we could say it, but here's statistical proof on why they're so bad.
Okay, so I'm going to point this out because I'm not the only one that is saying that this is going to be a terribly low scoring game. Look at the comments. Dave Peterson, I think it'll be 17-6. Corey Yeager, I hate to say it, Northwestern wins 17-6. Both are under 24. Fucking called it, man. I'm telling you,
you could take the 1 out of that before the 7 and 17 and probably still be okay.
Right. Now, so saying that, Trent, if this was Iowa versus Northwestern, both had amazing defenses and both offenses were like middle of the road, and it's just a defensive slugfest, and it's like who can have the momentum longer, that'd be amazing. This is not that game, guys. This is not that game whatsoever. This is one has an amazing defense, one is atrocious on both sides of the ball, and the other one is not even atrocious. They're worse than atrocious on offense. So yeah, it's going to be one of the worst games of the year to watch, in my opinion.
Northwestern wins 6-2. God, I really wish I would have been like, because when you're younger, I think you kind of look at offense. You want to see the points, the boom, touchdowns, everything. I wish I could go back in time, or I guess I could just look up the stream. I kind of want to watch the Iowa Penn State 6-4 game again, just to see how brutally awful that game was, and appreciate it for what it was. That it's kind of one of those. You ever see Tin Cup? He does so bad, but he goes down in history because he makes the play. That game was so bad, but everyone remembers 6-4. No one remembers the Illinois Indiana game, but they remember the Illinois Penn State 9 overtime game because it was just that bad.
Yep.
So
and like as I've said multiple times, that LSU Alabama game that ended up 9-6, one of my favorite fucking games of all time. If I could watch that game every single week, I would be in heaven. Like, that'd be awesome.
Oh, Joey's heaven of 9-6 football is everyone's 6th ring of hell. That is just.
But again, both offenses were still good. Just both defenses were perfect that game, and that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. I think Iowa wins. I think Iowa fans that are down. I think Northwestern wins. This isn't the trap game of when you have Ricky Stanzi and you're 10-0 and everything. This is a bad Northwestern team, and at least you're in Iowa City. You're going to be in a hostile environment for the Wildcats, I guess. I'm trying to think of any positive stats here, but yeah, I think I'll be honest, man. Just because their offense is so bad, and unless they have a defensive touchdown, I don't know if they cover 11. I think they win. I think Northwestern potentially covers. So, moving on, kind of the bigger games for the weekend here outside of our two sad sack teams. Excuse me. Notre Dame. They're going to play at the JMA Dome at Syracuse this weekend. Syracuse dropped back down to 16. I'm sorry, audience. Joey, you mind if I read your comment here?
Yeah, go ahead. I didn't know if you wanted me to or not.
I apologize for the delay, everyone. Joey, Uncle Joe just commented, I just farted so loud that the pop-up that comes up saying your mic is muted came up. Like he was trying to fucking talk or something. Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Mexican food.
Yeah. Mexican food and IPAs will do it to you, my friend.
Quality content you get from Pulse of the Heartland right here.
A lot of professionals in this room here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9, Oklahoma State at 22, Kansas State. Oklahoma State still outside chance of the playoffs, depending on how the end of the year plays out. Number 2, biggest game of the week, and I know Joey will disagree with me. I hate that this is on Big Noon, but number 2, Ohio State at number 13, Penn State. And then number 19, Kentucky at number 3, Tennessee. We're kind of trickling down. We're starting to see a clearer playoff picture here. But I'll kind of jump to the middle one here, Joey. Why do you love the big noon slot for these huge games in the Big Ten? I would think you'd want it in prime time at 7 o'clock at night, playing in front of the whole country.
Well, I mean, you're already getting Ohio State and Penn State. Ohio State is a national name. Penn State's right there. If they're not a 5-star team, they're a 4-star team. I think that you're going to draw the crowd no matter what. I love it when game day or Big Noon is getting there and pumping that team up, that whole crowd up right before the game starts, and it goes right into the game, and you don't have to get hyped for the game and then watch a few others that you're putting little small bets and shit on, and then you got to get rehyped in the evening. Like, I don't know. I like noon games. I think they're fun. And then you have the whole rest of your day to watch the rest of the good football. So being a Big Ten fan, I love noon games.
Okay. So I always just I guess I'm just used to the morning games because as Iowa State fans, I remember when we'd be tailgating, and every week you'd have to get there 6 hours early so you could get the first slot to watch from the south end zone, because the south end zone wasn't closed yet, so you could watch the game from the big screen in the tailgating lots. And every time it's like, why do we have to fucking wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning every Saturday to go tailgating? So I think that's what spoiled some of it for me. But I kind of agree with your point there.
But I love waking up early, waking up right away, walking around, handing a beer to everyone while we're taking morning showers at 4 a.m., going to the field and tailgating at 5, getting more beers and, hanging out. Like, I don't know. If you can't drink all day unless you start in the morning. Well, like when TJ and Dylan and I all lived together, and we'd have people come down for the weekend, like, we have to wait for showers. So everyone drinks while we wait for our turn to get into the shower.
You and TJ never conserved water one time so you could get to tailgates a little faster? Okay.
No. I thought that was a you, TJ, and Jack thing. I'm not your guys' friend. Oh. Jack's your friend.
Oh, shit. Well, yeah, I kind of agree. Like, if your game that is the one nice thing, is you don't have to worry about, one of the worst games last year was when Iowa State played UNLV at 9 p.m. at night. You'd been up drinking all day, and I was falling asleep at 8:30 that night going, I'm not even going to watch this game. Like, thankfully it was in control, and I didn't have to worry about trying to stay up. But I was just the 9 p.m. games, the Pac-12 after dark. Sometimes I just can't make it anymore.
Exactly. Like, now that I'm getting old, like, give me all of the fucking games at noon, and then just go from there.
Every game, 11 a.m. kick. We're done with football by 3.
Yeah. And if you're a real degenerate like I am, you just have a different game on every fucking TV. You got like 7 games going, streaming, and then 4 on your Xbox. Like, yeah, you're fine.
If you played every game at 11 a.m., 2 things. Degenerate gamblers would be in such a wreck, because they have this bet that's losing, but their bigger bet's winning. They're trying to watch all the games at once. Also, I think women across the United States will rejoice because they have their Saturdays back and their men. They can go to their stupid fucking apple orchards or wherever the hell they do on Saturdays now.
Oh my God. Dave bringing up tailgating. Dave, I'm going to tell a story, but I don't know if you're going to, I don't give a shit if you like it or not. But Dave came to Iowa City one time to go to a Hawkeye game. And not only did we wake up Saturday morning and realize that he left his tickets back in Fort Dodge, so he couldn't go to the game. He went and showered so that we could go tailgate. And as soon as he came out of the shower, he sat down, and we were already fucking hammered. And Dylan spills a beer all over Dave's brand new, nice, fresh outfit. So he had to go change and then put another outfit on. Those are the blurry memories I miss.
Those are the ones, yeah, you're distinctly remembering. That one cuts through everything. God, I remember one time tailgating, and when you tailgate in the lots, it's changed quite a bit in the last decade, but everyone would have their bus, and you'd bring your 8 to 12 people, whoever it was, you invite everyone, and ours is the bus with the blue beer mug flag. Ours is the one that has this, here's the landmark, whatever. And the bus I used to own back in the day had about a 4-foot little tailgate at the end of it. So, like, when you walked off, you could have your grill just kind of stashed up there and stuff. Well, you're walking around and you drink a little beers and you forget where you're at. I was on a completely different bus, and I was walking out the back, and I was like turned around talking with someone, like blah blah blah, whatever it was. And I imagine there's a step there, and I couldn't have landed more face first. You just see, a guy that weighs over a couple bills just fall face first into just mud, fucking 4 feet down, just get up and then when you're drunk, you kind of you think you look so cool. I just went, I'm like, all right, let's keep going. Just play it off like nothing happened. Just, God, those tailgating lots. I don't know how I survived, man.
Man. So to finish the Dave story, just so I don't leave him hanging, that same one, we walked to a tailgate. I did 4 Keystone Tallboy beer bongs in a row. and they had to like basically carry me home. So yeah, it wasn't all bad for just Dave. It was bad for everybody.
Oh shit. Well,
Nice.
okay. No, we're not going to get in that story, Matthews. We'll go over it on Saturday in person here, but I don't know. I'm looking at these other games. I Notre Dame is a 2.5-point dog at Syracuse.
Mhm.
Syracuse, they may, if they don't make stupid defensive mistakes and hit quarterbacks out of bounds. I agree. The refereeing wasn't great, but they started that. They rolled that snowball up to make it huge, and Clemson came back. I think Syracuse can cover that one. It's just going to be, are they going to be intimidated by the Gold Domes? That's all it's going to be. Syracuse is the better team. One of them is a brand, though.
It's at Syracuse, right?
At Syracuse.
And it's just amazing how far Notre Dame has fallen this year. Just and you know, and on the other side, how much Syracuse has come up. It's just.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you say they've fallen so far this year?
They're a college football playoff team, Joey. All right.
Yeah. Some of us had them.
I think multiple of us had that.
I mean, they beat Cal, they beat North Carolina, lost to Marshall, and lost to Ohio State. They beat BYU. That's the game I forgot. Lost to Stanford and then beat UNLV. How UNLV got onto Notre Dame's schedule is beyond me.
Easy
that
win.
Stanford loss might be their worst one, even before Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, they've already got a list of worst losses they could have on the year. I mean, they got Syracuse. Mm-hmm. Oh my God! Then they are hosting Clemson at Navy, Boston College at in South Bend. They're no pushover, and then at USC. They've got a little bit of tough sledding. They might get 6-6. They might get a bowl game this year. If you're Notre Dame, you are a brand. You are known for playoffs. You're known for going to these big games. If you go 6-6 and you're going to the Meineke AutoZone Who Gives a Fuck Bowl, do you just decline the invite if you're Notre Dame? Or do you think they make an exception and put them in a bigger bowl because they're Notre Dame?
Because they're not. Yes, yeah, that was my thought.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I know because I know Iowa State has benefited in the past because of like the playoffs and it kind of tears up all your bowls. So I know like a 6-6 Iowa State and like a 7-5 Iowa State has played in some bigger bowls, and we'll take them because guess what? Our first bowl win was in 2000. So you know we're on a different level than Notre Dame and the Four Horsemen and their whole history. You know, I think now that we're talking through it, I think Notre Dame would definitely just be invited up because they're a brand.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but you can't invite them that far up. Where do you put them against a 8-4 team? Like,
yeah, I mean that would be the highest.
Right.
If it's the right one, and because of the playoffs polling, maybe if they would, if the SEC or whatever conference gets 2 bowl teams in there, or I think that would be the only way is if a playoff team gets 2 bowl teams in, and it basically pulls everyone else up to like 2 teams in the Big Ten are in the playoff. Okay, now 3rd place goes to the Rose Bowl because you know what I'm saying? I think that would be the only way that Notre Dame would be pulled up. But the other thing I'm unsure of is, are they under ACC tie-ins? They play like an ACC schedule and everything else. I don't think they're in the tie-ins though. Are they for?
I don't think
bowls. No,
for the bowls.
Yeah, so, give me Notre Dame at 6-6 versus Iowa at 6-6 and some rinky-dink fucking Flagstaff, Arizona bowl or some shit. And let both teams travel, make that city a shit ton of money, and then both teams could just drink their sorrows afterwards.
How about we just have the I-80 showdown? You played in Rockford, Illinois, and then everyone can be home by supper time. How about that?
Okay.
Oklahoma State at Kansas State. If Kansas State plays at Howard, I think they got a chance versus Oklahoma State with that putrid defense. I think Oklahoma State wins this one pretty easy, though.
Yeah, I like Oklahoma State here as well. I don't know. They're second, you know, and if I had to do power rankings in the Big 12, they're second right now. TCU is going to be ahead of them, obviously. They beat Oklahoma State. But Oklahoma State is still a really good football team. Kansas State, I don't know. I think
we don't know where they're at. Dude.
What's that?
We don't know where they're at.
I think they're a fraud.
Ooh, capital F fraud?
Yes.
Damn.
Wow.
I don't think they're that good.
You know who's not the frauds? The Ravens are finally starting to come back. 24-13 in the pulling away in the second half here.
Might have my Thursday night bet hit. Start 1-0 on the week. Haven't had that happen in about a month.
I'm watching the Virginia Tech NC State game, and NC State just made the comeback. So,
what's the score?
22-21
with 7.5 left.
Nice. Well, good thing I didn't bet on that because I would have bet the under on it. So, Ohio State.
I think Oklahoma State's. Yeah. Sorry, I think Oklahoma State's going to win that game. I think they're very fucking good. That TCU Oklahoma State game only overshadowed by the Tennessee Alabama game. That was a hell of a game. So I like Oklahoma State to win that one. I like them to win it big.
Yeah, I agree with you. If again, we talked about at the beginning of the year, Kansas State had to play perfect all year in order to be an outside contender for the Big 12 championship. This is one of the games where they have to play perfect if they want to stay in it. So I don't know if they play at Howard. I think they got a better shot, but who knows? Ohio State, Penn State. Does anyone even think Penn State has a chance here?
Corey Yeager does. He says Penn State wins 29-28. So I don't. I think the same thing happens to Penn State that happened with them against Michigan. I think they may keep it close in the first half, and then Ohio State. I think Ohio State might be the best offensive team in the country outside of maybe Tennessee. Tennessee's also really fucking good, but yeah, give me Ohio State winning that by 21 probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ohio State make a statement here and win big.
Ohio State's 15.5-point favorites, so you're both right in line with that. Kansas State wins 44-35. I'll agree to disagree with you, Yeager. And then number 19 Kentucky at number 3 Tennessee. I mean, is this a letdown game for Tennessee after that huge emotional Bama win? Well, they did have UT Martin last week, but I would say, do you think they continue the momentum?
I think Tennessee does. I think Tennessee comes out of here with a win. I didn't realize Kentucky was ranked so high at 19. But I think Tennessee keeps this going.
Yep. I think if this would have been last week's game, I may have been more inclined to pick Tennessee to have a letdown game. But with them having UT Martin in the middle, I really like them to just keep rolling, baby. Good old Mountain Rocky Top.
I agree. I also have Hendon Hooker in my Heisman pool, so I think Tennessee just destroys them. Hendon Hooker has 7 passing touchdowns. This is his Heisman moment. I win $25 at the end of the year. It's a win-win-win.
I still need to get a switch out since I was the one that brought it up 2 weeks ago, then got busy, and then someone else stole DTR from me. So, I need to switch out Devin Leary, who is NC State's quarterback and out for the season. So, motherfucker.
Don't think he's got too good a shot winning the Heisman then, huh?
No, he does not. So at least I have CJ Stroud and Blake Corum. So
yeah, I would say I got who do I got? I got Bryce Young, Bijan Robinson. I could just throw that one away at this point. I need to do a little more research because in recent memory, I want to look up and see who has the least amount of team wins that's won the Heisman. Because if it's less than 10, I would be shocked. I think that's going to be my strategy going forward. Is later in the year, whoever is closest to 10 wins, just because Texas isn't going to get to 10 wins this year. Bijan Robinson's not going to have a chance to win the Heisman. It's the best player on the best team award, basically.
No 9-3 player going to get the Heisman.
Ooh, I know who I'm going to take. So I'm going to just keep my mouth
shut. I only say that because Troy Davis didn't win the Heisman when they were 6-6, and everyone keyed on him. They put 10 in the box at that point. Still couldn't stop him.
Still rushed for 2,100 yards.
Joy, what do you guys say about Troy Davis there, huh?
Well, never mind.
You can just say it. It's
like
free speech.
I mean, what did he do? Get arrested 2 years ago for DUI and beating someone up in Ames? Like, Cool man.
What the fuck does that got to do with how he ran the ball in 1995?
No one put 10 in the box. Jesus Christ.
They put 11
Wasn't
in the
that when-
box. He carried 4
Wasn't that
people
when
in the end
Seneca
zone
was
every
there
time.
too? And
That was
Kohler
like 6 years after Seneca.
and Kohler, and I'm pretty sure Brees Hall was backing him up with Dick Montgomery. Like, yeah.
Running back you.
Yep.
RBU. Gyro's got a little ways to go. I think with the younger freshmen, I think we can continue going. But they've Campbell in general, because he also had Kareem Hunt before that at Toledo, so he's had hell of a run with running backs that he's coached. But all right, well, I would say we've kind of talked about some of ours here, but we'll get to our betting locks of the week because we're kind of running not super long, but long enough here. Last week for week 8, Joey he lost the UCLA wins bet, but he did say Ohio State wins by 35. I wish we could have had alternating lines or looked that one up because that would have probably paid out pretty damn well for you, dude. Trent had the Oklahoma State not only covering 6.5, they did beat Texas last week. I went 1-1. I had Syracuse covering 13.5 versus Clemson. Texas A&M shit the bed. Jimbo's going to be out of there by the end of by next year, I think. And then Ohio State covers 29.5, and he had Oklahoma State money line as well here. So
it's like Jimbo's players smoking weed in the locker room before the game.
For shame.
Yeah.
I know nobody that smokes weed, and if they do, they deserve to be in jail for life and throw away the key.
Now the difference is they're doing it before the game. Before the game in the locker room. A little different.
Oh,
I mean, I was probably doing it before their game too.
Well, you weren't on the team. Again, a little different. Yeah.
It's a teensy bit.
Mm-hmm.
But so week 9, Joey, what is your lock of the week here?
Yeah, I have Tennessee. ESPN has them as a 12-point favorite. I'm going to go Tennessee with that big spread. I think they just keep rolling. I know Kentucky is number 19 and is a pretty good team, but fuck, man, that offense looks good. So
yep. You don't think Will Levis can help them cover?
I don't. I really think Tennessee is kind of unstoppable on offense. If Bama can't slow that team down at all, there's not many teams in the country that can do that. Maybe Iowa. That's about it.
But they got a Stoops lead in Kentucky. How could you say that?
I know. My bad.
I know. I think Tennessee blows everyone out until they get to Georgia now, and I think that's going to be a great game.
Safe bet. Trent, how about you?
Let's see here. I have TCU covering 6.5 at West Virginia. West Virginia is not great.
West Virginia isn't that great, but they've shown sparks of aptitude. I guess I don't know a better way to say it. I mean, they've been able to compete at times. I thought they were going to do more with that JT Daniels dude.
I did too. I really did. They've been bad, and TCU, I think they keep it rolling, and they win by touchdown. That covers 6.5 right there.
There you go.
Easy as that.
Well, good thing you caught it at 6.5 because the current line is 7.5 right now, which that might be a difference in me thinking if TCU can cover or not. So I think West Virginia could keep it within a touchdown, but I think like every other TCU game, they pull it out of their ass and they win in the end.
Yeah.
So, Clark, he didn't submit one. I'm sure we'll just say he's going to say Kansas win. Who are they playing this week?
Kansas money line. No, they're on a bye.
Oh shit!
So he's taking Kansas State this week.
Kansas State money line. Yeah, we're just going to fill that in. Yep. Clark's taking Kansas State money line without his approval. So we have something to blame him on next week. I can't believe how high I got this line at. I was talking with a coworker because he's a huge Illini fan, and I said I'd adopt them as my third team just because, I don't know, for shits, I guess. But Illinois at Nebraska, the over-underline is 50.5. Illinois.
Where did you get that?
That's on Caesars, man. That's on every betting app right now. I mean, I'm pulling up the Big Ten stats right now. Here's Illinois' last 5 games here. Illinois won 26-14. Illinois won 9-6. Illinois won 34-10. Illinois won 31-0. Illinois won 24-3. The most points they've given up is 14 to Minnesota, and that was including a return. So they are allowing no points, and I'm going to tell you right now, Illinois isn't an offensive powerhouse either. So I don't know how that one hits over at Nebraska.
That is a great bet there because Illinois statistically is the number 1 defense in the nation, and Nebraska's not going to score against them, and they are not going to score that many points. So great pick.
I think Nebraska is better than what they were earlier in the year. They've kind of got a little bit of momentum, but this isn't the Nebraska I thought. They still haven't gotten to 4 wins, and I said they're going to start 4-0. So they're not as good as we thought they were at the beginning of the year. So, no, I felt very – once I saw that line, I actually had stuff to do at work, and I paused and put that bet in before that line got any lower because that's – I guarantee we come back and it's like 35-31, and I look like a dumbass, but
Vegas knows.
Vegas knows, but yeah, I felt pretty good on that one here. But well, I mean, we're kind of down to the nitty gritty. Does anyone have anything else they want to say about college football in general, other than they love it? Any random stats that you're holding on to that you want to throw out to the world?
No, now that Clark's not here to make his lock of the week, I think his lock of the week was actually Iowa State money line.
Yeah. Yeah. Clark, biggest Iowa State fan out there. He's never said anything negative about Matt Campbell and the Cyclones. We're also going to mark him down for Iowa State money line.
Yep.
Bless you, Clark. Thank you for your service. So, well, we'll wrap it up here again. This has been a fun one, guys. We've had a lot of people interacting, jumping into the chat here. Mm-hmm. And we do appreciate you guys joining in. We do it every Thursday at 8:30. Kind of bullshit about our own teams, little therapy session, BSing about these upcoming games here. But if you do want to follow us for more than just our college football stuff, we have our road to 272. We do that every Wednesday at 8:30. We do a pick on every single NFL team and kind of make fun of Russell Wilson, and we do that a lot actually. Not even when we're talking about the Broncos, we do it quite a bit. But we also have a pod we typically do on Mondays, just kind of BS and talking about. Once football slows down a little bit, we'll also be talking about smoking meats and other things that we're doing as well. But if you do want to enjoy more of our stuff, Joe, you want to hit them with the socials?
Yeah, on Twitter and Instagram at Heartland Pulse, and then also YouTube and Facebook. Just search what happened.
Just Matthews, stat of the day: Iowa State is 7-2 and 78 all time versus Oklahoma. But how many of those wins have come in the last 5 to 7 years? Like 3 of them. So Oklahoma, I'm sorry, man. You saw them in their prime about a decade ago. They're just going downhill ever since. So we'll talk about that more in person on Saturday, Matthews. But sorry, Joey, hit them with the socials again.
Oh, you're fine. At Heartland Pulse, Twitter and Instagram, and just search Pulse with Heartland on Facebook and YouTube. And as Brian said, we're always live on Thursdays and Wednesdays for our betting stuff, Mondays also, and then we will have the podcast on all the major platforms the following day.
Yes, sir. And then also we've partnered up. If you want to follow them on Twitter, it's at Let Talk Sport. It's a little bit of a collaboration. They've been helping us with trying to growing our audience. So if you are new to the pod and came through them, we do appreciate the follows here and the listen. But I would say we do appreciate everyone joining in. We'll see you all next week.
Hey, I just saw this is our 1-year anniversary on Twitter. So follow us, baby.
Oh,
hell yeah. Happy birthday to us. This is like our 102nd episode now. We didn't even mention it last week. We kind of fucked that up.
Yeah. Wasn't last Thursday the 100th episode?
Yeah,
something like that.
How did we miss that? So I got to scroll back and see. Was our first November 3rd was our first episode. So would that be
year?
Yeah, November 3rd was episode 1.
So it'll be next Thursday
on the anchor.
Yep.
Well, we'll have to get a birthday cake and we'll put it. I'll have it live on the stream. Or do you want me to do
Hell yeah.
the Marilyn Monroe come out of the birthday cake and
Yes.
sing sexily to you guys?
Yes.
Please, that one.
Yes.
Happy. Oh, I'll do the Skylar White from Breaking
Oh,
Bad.
yeah.
The most awkward television scene in history.
Yeah.
I'll just sing super sexy for you guys.
God, I hate Skylar so much.
So does everybody.
One character kills people and runs a meth empire, and one of them is just a housewife that wants a loving family, and we're like, oh, the housewife, Jesus.
Yeah.
Also, one of us
So
is also
obnoxious.
is banging their table with their beer can to have their wife bring another beer. So I guess we do know where we lean here.
Yep. Didn't even get it. Still empty.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Come on. Oh, fuck. Well, before this derails even more, we'll talk to you all later.
Have a good